Thanks, Charles, for organizing this. It's very empowering, and I'm so glad to be a part of this virtual community that you've created.
Thank you. I want to touch base with you as someone who I work with very early on in my career, as we're talking about the Canadian Film Centre right now. Could you talk about that Summer Lab back in 91 and why was it necessary at the time?
Back then, the industry was devoid of diversity. It's bad now, but back then we were practically invisible. So when the CFC opened a window and I was selected for the Summer Lab, I thought I'd won a lottery. And then I met my classmates, Clement Virgo, Damon D'Oliveira, Stephen Williams, Mina Shum, and we just dove right in. The program was intense, it was immersive, and a lot of fun. And for me, I have to say, it was the single most thing that helped me to launch my career in the film and television industry. And the program was a success. We all went on to have careers in the business. Some of us have had our struggles, we've all had struggles, and some had to leave the country to find success, but it was a great program. And then it went away, I'm not sure why, and it was hugely frustrating because the doors kept on opening for a time and then closing and then opening again. And so I think we just got fed up.
You were there in the beginning and now you're here in this time and working towards this Black Screen Office, which I think is incredible.
You know, there's a transformation happening in the world. It's important to advocate for a Black Screen Office modeled on the Indigenous Screen Office, because while the doors may be open now and there seems to be room for transformation, we don't want to be this year's trend. We want to continue to advocate because we think it's going to be necessary to do that. We want to see policies and practices change. We want to be the gatekeepers and decision makers. We want roles on boards. And we're going to need resources and funding and race statistics to know that we're on track, because it's going to take a lot to level the playing field. And we don't ever want to be on the other side of the door again.
How do you feel about the idea of that legal power that actually holds, you know, the broadcasters and the institutions accountable legally?
This is 2016. We should not have to fight in order for Black Lives Matter. I won't. More racism is showing. We're not moving.
I think the system is racist, and we all know that the country is founded on racism. So these organizations and government agencies come out of that legacy, and they do hold the power right now. But I think we're going to be holding them accountable, and they're going to be challenged at every turn. They may have the legal authority now, but that doesn't mean that authority can't change. And that's what we're fighting for.
You know, Black women in the executive positions. What is that disparity, and why is it necessary now that we see specifically in our industry that Black women are holding those places of power?
Well, for many years, the gatekeepers and decision makers were white. And I've seen the frustration that that's led to for people trying to break into the industry and to advance. I was one of the few gatekeepers, and being in that position gave me a completely different perspective. I used my position to give opportunities to Black producers and creators. And one program that I initiated when I was at Vision TV gave Black people the first opportunity in television. And that included you, Charles, and Jennifer Holness and Seth Sutherland and Don Wilkinson. And when I look at what's on the screen now, I'm like, oh my God, this, you know, it actually took a gatekeeper who looked like us to make that happen. And I think that's, you know, it's what we need now. We need people who look like us to be in those decision-making roles.
Or do you have any suggestions in terms of what the opportunity the CFC has right now to participate in this radical change, or have any recommendations or a demand?
You know, what's important really is that we have to see ourselves as human beings. We're all part of a family, and that means everyone. And in order for that to happen, people just have to be open to making sure that everyone is included. And it's going to take effort because that's not the way it's been. It's a whole new way of doing things and a whole new way of seeing things. And for the CFC, they're going to need leadership that looks like us in order to make those changes. Because, the people who get in are the people who you know and trust. And we have to become the people you know and trust. And that may have to start with having the gatekeepers who look like us. But I think hopefully eventually we will be one, and that will be the point of view that we work from.